Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you for joining us for our Thursday weather update for November the 16th. Sorry we weren't here yesterday. There was a major power outage in our area, so our studio didn't have power for several hours. Someone dug a hole somewhere and broke a cable. So thankfully it's back. And luckily the storm up here, Cyclone Mel, had already cleared away from Fiji. So we didn't really need to do any special updates yesterday. The cyclone is going to fall apart today. It won't have tropical cyclone status anymore. By the end of today, it's highly likely, and it will then fall apart over the next 24 hours just to the north of New Zealand. There's another low out here though. That's about to move in and deepen and will basically take some of the energy from this system, and it'll help produce a little bit of rain this weekend. Basically mild nor'westers across the country at the moment though. That's why Thursday morning, perhaps not quite as cool as other mornings at the start of this week. But there is a cold front coming into the South Island, and that's going to bring in some rain over the next couple of days. You can see here on the west coast, could be up to sort of 60, 70, 80 millimeters for the mountains. Not so much elsewhere though, and certainly for the east and the north of the country, only a few showers are in the mix. Now as we go through the weekend, this is the 2-day rainfall from Saturday. So this covers Saturday, Sunday and up to Monday morning. And that shows that North Island low dropping sort of 20 to 35 millimeters. And notice this in the South Island. That's a sign of afternoon downpours. They're likely to start forming this weekend and for the start of next week, with a few afternoon thunderstorms forming. So that just shows the risk zones. It only shows a couple of millimeters, but of course, as we all know, a thunderstorm or afternoon downpour can deliver much more than that. So I would see it more as a risk rather than the total of rainfall coming through there. So here is Friday, cold front coming back in to the lower South Island. Bit of a cold day if you're in Invercargill and Gore. Those daytime highs are going to be a bit flat, not necessarily even getting up into the teens. So a bit of a cooler day for you on Friday with some wet weather coming in, and that front weakens as it goes northwards. That's why you're not seeing very much in the way of rain for the top of the country. The tropical storm up here falling apart further as it drops further to the south. And we've also got a few thunderstorms over here in Australia. Don't forget our 7-day Australia only forecast is also out today. So as we go through to the weekend, Saturday, low pressure up here to the northwest is driving in a northerly flow for much of the North Island, although it's an easterly flow from about Waipukaro southwards. You'll have that easterly, so it won't be quite as warm for some of you. And then further south, light winds, and that's the reason why we might see a couple of showers forming. It doesn't look too dramatic on Saturday. It's perhaps more going into Sunday and maybe the start of next week that we'll see those isolated thunderstorms popping up. But they are possible again on Sunday. A few lighter showers with drizzle around the eastern side, and a similar story, kind of patchy rain or showers or drizzle patches in the mix. It's a fine line because that low's not very deep, and high pressure is just nearby. So the high pressure area, sort of air pressure lifts up a bit the further south you go. So the rain tends to taper off and become a lot lighter when it is like that. So here we are on Monday, and the low pretty much gone. It's basically disappeared. A little bit of leftover energy still spinning clockwise and still producing a little bit of showery weather around the North Island. But these showers you see inland are more likely to be the heavy sort. So lighter on this side, heavy in the afternoon for these areas, with possibly afternoon thunderstorms developing. By Tuesday, once again, afternoon thunderstorms are possible inland. Light winds, cool nights, mild afternoons, perfect recipe to start seeing a few downpours. Even up here around Waikato and northern parts or inland parts of Northland, we might be seeing a few heavier showers. And out here to the east, maybe inland some heavier showers, but coastal wise, they won't be so bad. And by Wednesday, that system's pretty much gone. It's barely a low pressure zone, but it is just circulating enough to keep a bit of energy out there. And then there comes the next cold front moving into the south middle of next week. So we're still in a weekly pattern of getting colder changes, but I think for the most part, rainfall numbers are starting to drop now as we go through the month of November. And speaking of the long range stuff, don't forget our weekly El Nino watch. We don't keep saying doom and gloom. In fact, we end every podcast with a silver lining. It's really just tracking what is going on with our weather patterns across New Zealand, Australia, Australasia, and the Pacific as we head in towards summer. So it's not just a repetitive thing telling you how bad it will be. We leave that for other people. We're more inclined to actually focus on the positives. And as we say this week, what a great spring we've actually had from a farming point of view. That's all from me for now. Don't forget our Australia forecast is out today for the 7 days ahead. Plenty of thunderstorms and downpours for them. Good news with a very dry, hot pattern on the way for Australia at the moment. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow Friday with our next update. We'll see you then.